G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today, wow, this really is a big one in terms of reviews, big ones in terms of screens, but you guys are probably making a bunch of innuendos. Anyway, what this is one I've been really excited for. I've been testing this for a while, and I know I've done some little teasers, but I'm really excited to bring you today a video about the AOMWAY Commander V2s. Now what we're going to be doing, we're going to put them on the bench, break them down, look at the text, the specs, and then the big one, we're going to take them out to the field. And I've been flying around with them for a little while, but I'll show you guys my impressions and how I feel when I'm flying with it, show you some DVR, we'll hand it over to Grumpy Trev, crash test Cal, and find out why these top tier goggles might be right for you, but also some of the things to look out for. And the big one, I'm going to say the price. Now, video goggles, I guess FPV goggles like this, especially wearing this price range, it's one of the most difficult videos to do because look, they're very expensive. You've got to get them right for your eyes, and there's so many preferences, 16:9, 4:3, the size of the screens, the field of view. There's a lot of stuff out there that people need to get right for them, and I know the comments can get very, very heated when it comes to goggle discussions. Now, big case in point, I'm going to be talking a lot about the AOMWAY Commander V1s. I guess in my reference, because that's what I flew with for a long time. And when I first did the review of this, I was flying Fat Sharks, and I think I had some Dominator V2s, and people said, "You're crazy, you're never going to make the switch," or something. You're just saying that for the review, but that wasn't the case. I tell you guys, I tell you exactly what it's like it is. We tell it how it is on UAVfutures, and I flew the Commanders for the next year. I really, really liked them. Now what we've got here, these are the upgraded pair, and am I going to make the switch? To be honest, I feel like it's too early to make that call for me because the screen is huge, and I guess I've got to get used to going back because they're 4:3, so it is a different sort of flying experience. It's very immersive, but we're going to find out, is it going to be the right goggle for you? And I really like the price of these, but these ones are priced at a little bit more. So we're going to be discussing all of that. It's going to be a lot of fun, so let's stick it on the bench, waste no time, and find out what's so special about the AOMWAY Commander V2s, because look, they are a top tier, amazing goggle, and are they going to be a right for you? So let's stick them on the bench and get started in 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, here it is on the bench, and we're going to go through the good stuff, which is right here. You do get a case and get some of these boring bits out of the way. So you get like some AV cords, and just on the case, I like the size of it. Finally, it's much better than the AOMWAY V1s. And the Fat Shark cases, well, I think this is the size that I like. I'm really happy with the case. We'll put that to the side. And if you want about 10,000 stickers, I have no idea why I have so many AOMWAY stickers. Perhaps that's just because this was the version that was sent to me for review. And also, I should mention, this might be a bit of a prototype version, so some things might change before you actually get yours. But here it is on the bench. Let's get on to the good stuff. Now, we'll get this bit out of the way as well, because look, it's a little bit boring, but it is useful. You've got this little, it can take a 2, 3, or a 4S battery. You just plug in your balance lead, and then you run the other end into your goggles. So it's still got that same sort of barrel connector. It'll take all your Fat Shark goggle batteries, all that sort of stuff. So I'll put that to the side, but I do like that little one, and it runs up the side, and you put the battery on the back of your goggles. That's so much better than the Fat Shark solution. Now, 2 antennas you get, which work very, very well, I must say. You get a little patch antenna right here, and also, your standard AOMWAY antenna. These have stood the test of time. I know a lot of pilots have used them. I've used these for years, and to be honest, they just keep working, which is why people use them. But let's get on to the good stuff. Let's talk about the AOMWAY Commander V2s. Now, the first thing I'm going to do with them is stick them on the scale. So we're going to find out, take your bets. They came in at about 177 grams, and in comparison, and they've got the receiver in there, in comparison to my Fat Sharks here, which are coming in at 218 grams, and that's without the receiver in there as well. What are we going to get when it comes to the AOMWAY V2s? 196 grams. So they're a little bit heavier. They're still lighter than Fat Sharks. They've got some really big screens in here, but that weight, those grams really do make a difference, and especially when you consider the batteries at the back. That was one of the biggest things why I like the V1s over the Fat Sharks, is because the Fat Shark goggles are on the side of your head. It does weigh it down with the battery at the back and the lighter weight. When you're wearing this thing all day, and especially the V1s, when you're wearing them all day, they make a huge difference in terms of comfort, at least on my face anyway. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go through some of the features and why, what makes this goggle special, and we'll talk about the price a little bit more, and then take it out to the field, rip it around, show you some impressions. But I guess as a bit of an overview, the first thing I want to talk about is the screen size. So the screen size in here is absolutely humongous. It is ridiculously big. It's 4x3, it's 800 by 600, so you do get a nice big clear resolution in here, and you're going to have a huge field of view. Now that field of view, it's 45 degrees, which is a massive step up from here, and I'm just going to tell you in my flight experiences with using these, it does feel different, especially being 4x3, so that a lot of pilots really prefer that. This one, it seems much more focused, I guess. The screen is huge. I'm just going to keep saying that over and over. The screen is massive. So if you're a fan of that, and I know a lot of people are, then this goggle, it's going to be right up your alley. Is that a good thing though? Because I'm not too sure. I know some pro racers, they find a smaller field of view actually easy to focus on where they're going. This one, it is extremely immersive. Now some other features, if we just jump around the goggles, one part I did like, you do have the option for a little head tracker, if I can get this off here, but it's not installed, which is good because I don't like goggles that make us pay for head trackers, but at the same time, the price of this thing, you'd think it was included because they are very expensive, I guess, in terms of they're right up there. Going through the other bit, you can see we've got 2 diversity receivers, and they're kind of interesting to talk about because they've got 64 channels, so you can even get low band if that's legal in your country. You know, you can go right down to the 5300s, so you do have a ton of options if you want to choose your right frequency. You've got your fan button, your DVR is the same. Here's your brightness and contrast, all that sort of stuff, and going through, here's your channel. Oh, sorry, there's your DVR, your fan. There's your channel, your band. Going through that, your standard SD port. If you want to put your headphones in, you've got your little jack here. Flipping it over underneath, we're going to talk about these because they are actually pretty good. You know, your head tracker data cable and your HDMI. It can take 720, 1080p if you want to hook it up. You've got your AV or AV in out. So if you want to have the whole kit and caboodle, you could listen to some sound and also put it into your computer. You've got the fan, which is ridiculously quiet, works very, very well. Right here, this is one of my favorite features. So on these goggles, you can see you've got, you know, everybody has different eyes, and you need to get it right. On mine, 99, actually every single goggle I've had, even on the AOMWAY V1s, I had them right to the outside. Maybe my eyes are just spaced around quite far apart. This one, I'm very happy to say you can adjust these little optics to, what is it? I think it's 59 millimeters to 72 millimeters. And this is the first pair of goggle where I actually have to have them just a little bit from the outside. So this is the first time that I've ever had a goggle that fits, you know, I can go past where I'm comfortable with and it starts to go out of focus the other way. So it's great to have that option. I can get it perfect lined up for my eyes. Now, one thing I don't like is AOMWAY foam. It's junk. AOMWAY, you need to do something about your foam. You do get a spare one in there, you know, when you get this, but it falls apart. You can see, you know, I've been using this thing for a little bit of a while, but it just falls apart way too easy. It's way too soft, and you need to send us like 5 or 6 of these bad boys, or just produce some better foam, because I don't like the foam whatsoever. Luckily, you can get spares. It only costs about $4, but when you're paying this much money for a pair of goggles, you want it, you know, you want it to perform, or you at least want to have those options. You need to fix the foam AOMWAY. Now, I do like the strap that goes across the top of the head. I love the battery strap at the back. Now, with all that out of the way, there's just some little features in terms of the on-screen OSD when you're cycling through. You can tell what your band and your channel is just by pressing a little button. That's pretty standard nowadays. I really did have to laugh. When you hold it down, you hold the search button, they've spelled search incorrectly. So that made me sort of have a little giggle to myself when it's searching through. It says searcher or something like that on the screen. So that part's pretty hilarious. That might be fixed in a firmware edition, or maybe when the time they're selling these, they might have actually fixed that part. But I guess then there's some little revisions that I would like to make. Number one, well, the price. It is expensive. I'm going to leave that up to the market to find out, is the price going to drop on these, because they are definitely a top price, top tier goggle, but also they are really right up there with the top price. Now, one other thing I'd like to change, even though you're plugging this in and out all the time, and that you might say, Stuart, you're just being lazy. What I want, please, AOMWAY, just give us a little button I can press it. You don't have to hold it in. The Sky Zones had it, but you had to hold it in, so it was annoying. I just want a little on-off switch that I can press. And, you know, I spoke to Trevor about this, and he said, well, what about if you just accidentally pressed it when you were flying? And that's not going to happen, because you never press your channel button when you're flying and accidentally press off the different channel. So just a little on-off switch so I don't have to unplug this all the time. And then the other part, you know, you hold this button down to go into the DVR, and then so it goes into the DVR menu saying, we're ready to record now. And then you press it again, and then it starts flashing on the screen, showing record. Skip that step. What is that first step even there for? Who's going to turn the DVR on and then just sort of leave it in idle mode? If you want to record, press the DVR button, make it start recording straight away, just make it start flashing. Skip that middle step of just having the sort of saying we're ready to record. We don't need that. So that can probably be done in a firmware update as well. So OMWAY, if you're listening, please change that. So you hold it down and it just starts recording instantly. Hold it down again or press it again and the record sign just totally disappears. And I would also like it if the record was a little bit smaller on the screen. So, you know, I know on the Falcon goggles it was one little red pixel. I understand if that might be too small for you, but I would like it just a little bit smaller, please. Anyway, that's it on the bench. But what we should do, let's take it out, fly it around and find out, is this going to be the right goggle for you? Because it's got all the text and specs and the bells and whistles. It is a great goggle and it does perform well. But let's go fly it with some other pilots and give you some impressions and find out, is this the new top tier goggle? Is this something you should be upgrading to? Is it something you know, if you want to get into the hobby, is it for you? Or if you just want that huge field of view and you can't get the HD V2s, which are, honestly, these are out of stock now. You know, they don't make these anymore. If you want that huge field of view, is this going to be the right goggle for you? So let's cut out to the field, have some fun, rip it around in 3, 2, 1. Rightio, out here in the field, and this is a big one I'm pretty excited about because, look, I've been doing a little bit of testing, flying these around. I want to give you guys my impressions and also hand them over to Grumpy Trev and also CTC and see what they think about the new OMWAY V2s as well, you know. So we've got different screen sizes, a few things are different. So we'll show you some DVR as well as my impressions and what they think. All right, let's do it. One thing that does bug me is I really wish they had that on-off button. Then I could just leave it plugged in all day. I could just be lazy, and I know I can take it in and out, but I really would like a little on and off button. Because they're 4x3, it takes you have to get them lined up a little bit better, and I feel like the bigger screen, you are going to get some blurring on some edges. It's still really, really large and immersive, but it is blurry on the outer extremities. So I feel like they feel the same on my face. Just first things first, on my face, I'm flying around. They feel like my old OMWAYs. So they're definitely very light, nice and comfortable. I'm not getting any light leakage or anything like that, and that is a problem with some of the other goggles. And it's not pinching my nose. I think Cal just let one rip over there. You animal, Cal. So yeah, anyway, and a really big picture. Like the picture is huge. It's like the HD V2. That's how big it feels anyway. Very, very big. And it does feel different to your 16x9, and I'll probably talk about that more when I'm flying around. The colors are nice. So let's take it up and have a little burn. You know, one thing you really notice is how big this screen is. It is absolutely so immersive. You can't, for me anyway, I'm not, especially coming from the smaller 16x9 little OMWAY V1s, this thing is ridiculously big and a very, very nice sort of flying experience. Is this going to make it easier hitting gates? Well, I actually don't know, because I sort of believe in, if you've got a smaller field of view, it's, I just crashed.
Did you crash, Stu?
Yes. Too hard to talk and wave my arms around. But yeah, as I was saying, sometimes, look, and this is going to be up for debate as well, having that big field of view doesn't always make it easier to fly. I know people always talk about big screen size, but that's kind of why I liked my original OMWAY V1s, because they had that smaller screen. It was easier for me to focus on the gates anyway. Now with this, I'm just getting a whole bunch of static now. Thanks, Cal. But yeah, with this, it's going to take a bit to get used to jump back the other way, because the screen is really, really big. It's very immersive, and I never noticed any stretching between the 16x9, 4x3 anyway, but it's definitely going to take a little bit to go back to these, because I can't say it enough, it is such a big screen. Now, one thing I really like about these, for my big eyes anyway, not my original OMWAYs, a lot of people, they've made the IPDs even bigger, so you can really take them to the outside, the outer extremities. For my big buff head, well, I always need to have mine cranked to the maximum to the outside. Now, I know that's a bit different. I think JB, he's got his always to the inside, you know, because people's faces are different. These ones are so big, I can take them. What I'm trying to say is, when I take these all the way to the outside, it's actually too far. And that's great to have that option, because I've never been able to find that perfect focal point, because I've always had them on the outside anyway, and don't know what it'd be like where too far would be. So it's nice to have what I'm trying to say is they've got a huge IPD adjustment, which is great. We all good? All right, take two. See if we can not break. So I wonder if I didn't even break a prop. Thanks very much, Cal. All right, yeah, the colors are great. It's I know I keep saying a very big screen. And I really think the people who are going to enjoy these are people who are sort of after the original Fat Shark Dominator, the HD V2s. They're definitely right up there with those in terms of both price, but also how the screen looks, because the screen is very, very nice. The reception is great, and I'm sure you'll see that on the DVR as well. I'm not getting many dropouts whatsoever, and definitely it's a nice pair of goggles. But now we can talk about the big elephant in the room,
the price, because the price is very, very expensive. They are, I think they're like $500 and something. I know there's a market and some people are going to want a goggle that costs that much for these features. They're happy to pay that. But for me, that's why I like the original AOMWAY V1s, because the price was fantastic. I mean, at $300, they were amazing. They really carved up a market for themselves as a good value goggle that offered a lot. You don't need to buy a receiver, which is the same with this. But these V2s, you need to pay substantially more, and that's where I really think they're not going to be worth it for people to upgrade if they already have a pair of goggles. So I'm going to say, if you've already got a pair of Fat Sharks or AOMWAYs, you're not really going to get a massive advantage. The price you have to pay is not really worth getting an upgrade, in my opinion anyway. Another thing I want to point out too, and it's not really going to come across in, I guess, this amount of testing, the AOMWAY foam that you get with the goggles is pretty rubbish. I found even on my V1s, you always have to replace it. It doesn't last very long and it's not very durable. Have you found that, Trev, in yours?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll put a link down below to some more foam anyway. You do get a spare one in this, but yeah, don't buy these expecting good foam, but that's only like a $4 difference, but probably something worth noting. I am used to the 4x3, but I don't know if I prefer it, if that makes sense. So like, I can definitely fly it. It's very easy to see exactly where I'm going, but it's just it's not my preference that I'm so used to flying, you know, for the last year or year more probably, that I've been flying around with my AOMWAY's V1s. All right, anyway, what I should do, let's bring it in, hand it over to Grumpy Trev and Crash Test Cal and see what they think. So I guess, look, I'm in direct sunlight here. I didn't get any light leakage whatsoever. So that is a really good plus for these goggles. And again, with these antennas, I guess that's something that I should also mention, no dropout. So the antennas, you actually get the patch, and the antenna worked really, really well. Okie dokie, here we go, on board with little XJB 3-inch with the AOMWAY V2s. And the XJB, it's actually a really good little testing rig because it lasts forever. But this is the DVR, and I'm going to let you guys make your mind up what you think about the colors, what you think about the reception, because the reception is actually better than what you see in the DVR. And this is so true for every single goggle that I've ever tested, and I'm sure the comments can back me up. The DVR always looks way worse than the actual FPV feed that you get. But for me, look, I find the DVR was okay. It's adequate. It's not outstanding. It's definitely not terrible. It does its job. The colors are nice, and I'm just going to give it like a 6 out of 10. So that's, I guess, the quick look at the DVR. Let me know what you guys think, but what we should do, let's hand it over to the grumpy man himself, see what he thinks, and is he going to like the AOMWAY V2s. Rightio, Trev, so I've got the AOMWAY V2s. Now, you're a big fan of the original AOMWAY V1s. You've been flying around with them all day. And I do want to point out these marks up here, they're from your original V1s. So we're not that right there. You've either had an operation and they've cut something off the front of your head, or...
Yeah, that's because the reason that's because the foam in these is pretty crap.
Yep, in the V1s.
Yeah,
and probably the V2s.
And it's the same foam. Look, the goggles, can't fault them. They're really good. They're version ones I'm talking about, but these ones, look, what a nice colour. Gunmetal grey, whatever it is. I actually like the colour. They've done a great job of that. They feel nice and light. They still look good. So, look, we'll give them a go. I don't like the foam. They need to improve that. That's the only negative with these things. But let's give them a go. Oh, nice colour. That is one big screen. Wow.
Are you getting any light leakage?
No.
Actually, I got a question. Do you notice much of a difference in terms of comfort, fit, or weight from your original V1s?
No, look, the only thing I noticed, the screen's just bigger. It feels the same to me.
Okay.
Well, this big screen's going to take a little bit getting used to. Well, it's taking a little bit getting used.
You've lost one.
It's taking, yeah.
Trevor's lost one of his antennas, so that's why he keeps getting telemetry lost.
Yeah.
Yep.
Telemetry recovered.
It's trying to say Trev's lost, but...
Okay, so we're going to have to talk over the top of this lady.
Okay, yeah, look, this thing, it's very colourful. Very, very big screen. They're just as comfortable as what the other ones are. Colours, extremely good. I've got to say, I probably do prefer the other ones, the smaller screen.
Why is that?
Well, probably because I'm more used to it. I suppose, look, I could fly these around okay, but probably just personal preference, I guess. But, gee, you could do a lot worse than these. These are still very clear.
Are you getting any dropouts or anything like that?
No, nothing at all. Very, very clear. Like, I just can't get over the colours. The colours are great.
And who would you recommend this to?
Probably anyone that's cashed up, because the only downfall with these, they're a little bit expensive. They're $500, aren't they, or something like that, the price of these things. And honestly, I can't see where the money is compared with the last ones. The screen's a little bit bigger, but I could imagine it'd be that much more expensive. I really think that they're a bit overpriced for what they are.
Alrighty, Trev, we've unplugged your quad, so now we can actually finish. We can hear what we're talking about, these goggles.
Yeah, well, look,
Did you like them?
I really do like them.
Okay, in terms of performance out of 10, what did you think as a pair of goggles go? How did you find this pair went?
Look, probably a 9 I'll give them, because they really need to fix up
I'm
this.
just going to save some of the battery and unplug it. Yep.
They really need to fix up the foam.
Okay.
The foam is okay, but it doesn't last very long. We've hardly used these. You can see the foam is starting to pull away already. They really need to work on that and get some better foam that's going to last a bit longer, because that is the only part about these goggles at all. Other than that...
Did you like the screens?
Oh, the screens were massive. They're incredibly clear as well. So very impressed with the screens.
All right. You can also hook these up to your computer and stuff like that if you're interested in that sort of stuff. But
look, value for money, probably about a 7. I really don't think they're worth anywhere near what they're asking for them. But
okay.
Other than that, they're, AOMWAY have done it again. Still a great goggle, but this time they're a bit overpriced.
So if money was no object, right? Someone's going to buy you. You get to choose any goggle you like. You don't have to pay for it. What goggle would you get?
I'd get these.
Okay.
Because the last set we've had, or we're still using, have proven their worth, and we've got them all. We've got Fat Sharks, and I choose to use these over the Fat Sharks any day.
But you don't like the price?
No, I don't like the price.
Okay.
No.
All right. Nice. Thanks, Trev. Radio CTC, the handsomest man in FPV. We've got the new AOMWAY V2s right here. So in the past, why have you chosen, just to get a bit of backstory or some context, why do you still fly around with the HD V2s? Because Trevor and I, we both switched to the AOMWAY V1s. Why have you got the HD V2s from Fat Shark still?
Because I'm a fan of field of view. So
Okay.
I like a wide field of view, and the HD2s are the biggest and the best in terms of field of view. So
Right.
yeah, they've got 50-degree field of view, and that's what I like. That's what I prefer to fly with.
That's why this is going to be interesting anyway, because I think these are going to be more similar to sort of the things that you're used to traditionally.
Well, that's why I didn't like the original AOMWAYs, is were just too small a field of view for me, and having that 16:9 picture as well wasn't optimal, because every camera I've got is a 4:3, and I prefer to have a correct aspect ratio when I fly. It's not a big deal, you get used to it if it's not, but yeah, that was one thing I didn't like about the old AOMWAY Commanders.
All right. And now we're going to do something a bit different here. You're going to rip a few laps with that, and then we're going to do a quick swap. You're going to come in, land, we're going to put those, and you're going to take off again, so you can get a direct comparison in your mind.
Because from what I understand, these are fairly comparable to the HD2s in terms of field of view and a lot of other things. So let's get a direct comparison and see how it goes.
Do it. I'll let you rip a few packs, and then I'm going to start recording again when you're ready to put these on.
All right. Okay, so
All right.
business as usual. I'm flying with my...
Yep. So you just come in for a landing.
That's right.
Okay, here's your, these ones, I'll swap you. I'm going to make sure these aren't in the sun, because that's always important. All right, so first impressions with them on your face.
Okay, I can notice immediately that the field of view is slightly smaller, but not significantly.
Okay.
So it's a nice wide field of view, something I would be comfortable flying with. So that's good. First, the IPD adjustments, that's nice.
Now the IPD adjustments are massive actually in this. I think they go to 72 millimeters or something.
Yeah, so you should be able to get a clear focus no matter who you are. So that's good. They're fairly comfortable on my face, I'll say. They're not a whole lot different to what I've been flying. I would say I need to adjust the contrast and brightness just a little bit, but other than that, it's a very comparable picture. I think the HD2s are is a slightly sharper picture, even though both of them contain a little bit of blurring on the outer edges, which is not a big deal at all, because let's face it, you're not focusing in those areas of the screen. So that's not a problem. That's something I'm used to. And look, they're very comparable. I would say I would stick with my HD2s.
Yep. What about if you can't buy them anymore though, because they're not for sale, the HD V2s?
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then I would...
Well, you got the HD V3s, but we don't have a pair here today.
Look, it's hard, because we've recently reviewed the Falcon goggles, which were pretty damn nice as well. Perhaps a slightly smaller field of view than these, but they're a lot cheaper. These are a bit pricey. So if I had to buy a pair of goggles today, I'm not sure I would go for these, given the price. But look, the quality's there, they're nice. If they were $100 or $150 cheaper, then it would be a no-brainer. These are a good goggle, there's no doubt about it. As you all know, I wear reading glasses. I'm not having any problem at all with focus. I don't have any diopters or anything in this. It's just my eyes and the goggles, and I'm having no problem whatsoever at keeping a nice sharp focus.
Is it comfortable on your head?
Look, feels like it's made for a slightly wider face than mine, but it's still comfortable. It's not a perfect fit, but it's still comfortable. I could fly all day with these. But the Fat Sharks, I have to say, they fit my narrower head just slightly better. But the comfort's there. It's nothing bad at all. So yeah, no, I think these are pretty darn good. Can you switch the fan on? I'd like to hear the fan.
Yes, I can. It's this button right here. Can you hear it now?
Hardly at all. That's the quietest fan I've ever heard on a set of goggles. It is running, isn't it?
Yep.
Wow. Can't hear them. That's great. I like that a lot, because my fan on my Fat Sharks is just noisy as heck, and it's not that old. I just replaced it not long ago. It's a good clear picture. No pixelation. I can't see the pixels. Even if I concentrate and try to see the pixels, I cannot. So the clarity's there, the field of view is there, the fan is there, which I like. And and the only thing is, you don't have the option of modules, Fat Shark modules, which is both a pro and a con at the same time. It's a pro in as much as you don't have to shell out more money when you buy these goggles. They just pull them out of the box and they're ready to go. And they are good receivers, I've got to say. There's no problem. They're as good as most receivers on the market.
Are you noticing any difference versus these receivers versus your normal one?
No, not really, to be honest. No, they're working just fine. But if you want to go to something like Clearview or any kind of other module that offers an enhanced reception experience, then you're going to be at a loss with this goggle. You're not going to be able to upgrade that in any way. But having said that, it looks like they've put a fairly decent, competent package together here, so that may never be an issue for you. I'm pretty impressed, actually, I got to say. But comparing them to those Falcons, it'd be a very hard choice given the price difference between them. Both very nice goggles, and these are nothing to complain about, really. So yeah, I better bring it into land in a second, but I could definitely race all day long with these goggles, no problem. Better than the last Commanders, that's for sure.
Do you prefer these over the V1 Commanders?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no comparison. That field of view makes it. Yeah, no, I'm happy. Could fly with these all day. And I got to say, the fit and finish is beautiful. The plastics they've used, it looks like a quality product. So if you do decide to bite the bullet and shell out for these goggles, well, at least you'll know you're getting something that's pretty decent quality. The optics are good, very good, in fact. And that's where the bulk of what's that ugly thing? Gosh.
That's Trevor.
So yeah, I think the bulk of R&D goes into the optics with a good set of goggles, and I think that's exactly what you're getting with these. So it's all good. Good job, AOMWAY.
Thanks, Cal. Alrighty, so final thoughts, boys, on the AOMWAY V2. So it's kind of interesting what you said. Trev, you weren't sure if you would switch because you like the V1 so much from personal preference. You're not sure how you sort of felt because you like them definitely more than the V1s though, but you still like your V2s as well. So I guess final thoughts, what do you reckon? What about weight-wise? Do you notice any difference?
These feel a bit lighter in your hand, and obviously they're lighter on your face as well. Even despite the fact that I've got a bigger battery hanging off these, they're just a lighter setup to wield around on your head.
And because it's at the back, I think it doesn't hang on your face as much as well.
Yeah. So the good quality product. AOMWAY have done really well here.
I don't know, what do you reckon, Trev?
Oh, look, I still like them, but I like these better. Just because I'm used to them, I guess. But I could fly with either, and I'd be happy with either ones.
Alrighty, so there it is. There's my I was going to say Fat Shark review. There, nothing but professionals. There it is. There's my review with the AOMWAY Commander V2s, and overall, there's some massive pros. I love this goggle, but is it worth it? And that's where it's going right up there in the upper pricing sort of range. So they are very, very expensive, and I feel like that is the biggest negative. I love everything about this goggle, but the price. Now, I guess if you're looking at it, I that was why I was the biggest fan of the OMWAY Commander V1s. They came in and they just kicked the socks off, I'm saying that politely, off the Fat Sharks, because Fat Sharks was so expensive. OMWAYs came in and for like the $300 mark, they were an amazing goggle, and I fly them still to this day, you know, the V1s. I really, really liked them. Now, and look, I don't know if these are on sale or whatnot, so definitely go and check the price. Look, I'll put a link down below. These ones were sent by OMWAY. Have a shop around. You might be able to find some specials, but they're pretty new, so I'm not too sure. They might not even be on sale yet, so go and check that out. But I'd love to know, you know, when you do see the price, do you think that it's sort of worth it? My phone's going off. It's my mum. She can just wait. The V2s, they're definitely a better goggle. If you like 4x3, you don't like 16x9, if you like that big picture, these are amazing. They've got so many really good features. I love like the LED. It's much better to see on the screen. The menu's very responsive. Everything about this goggle is top tier, but you would definitely expect it and want it to be because of the price. And I'm going to say for those people out there, and OMWAY, look, they're probably not going to like it that I'm saying this. I'm going to say this isn't worth the money to go and upgrade, because if you've already got a pair of these, I wouldn't be going out and buying a pair of this. So look, that's just my opinion. You know, you can put yours down below. I don't think it's worth it paying it for most pilots out there just to get the new set of the OMWAYs. Now, the people who are going to want this are those people, they want the 4x3 screen. They're happy to pay a bit of extra money for the top tier goggle. The receiver in here, it's nice that it comes with it because look, to be honest, it performed really, really well. I have no problems. I feel like it performs like the LaForges and some of those other diversity modules that come in the Fat Shark. So I'm really happy with the receiver. You can't run a clear view, however, but you do get a very, very nice goggle, but it's at a premium price, which I feel like is a bit of a shame because look, that's why I love the original Commanders. They really took hold of the market with that low price. This one, it's gone the other way a little bit. So time will tell just how popular these goggles are. They're definitely some of the best goggles out there, but you've got to pay for them. Anyway, what do you guys think? Drop your comments down below. Subscribe for more FPV related content. And as always, I'm on my way. Happy flying. Mum. What's good? I'm just doing some filming. What's going on? Oh, it's good.